Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Ceres in the 11th house in a natal chart. Now, Ceres in astrology can be about how one may nurture and care for others, and it may also be connected with how one may desire to be nurtured and cared for. Now, given this is the 11th house. We're talking about sectors of life now where this energy can be injected into. Now, this may be a person that might strongly care for their friends, acquaintances, bring their nurturing energy into groups, into clubs, into organizations. It might be somebody that strongly nurtures their future and cares about it. And say if it's in the zodiac sign Cancer as an example, this could be something where a person might show very strong dedication, devotion, tenacity, and really towards attaining matters in terms of attaining goals and aspirations and that energy into one's future. Now, also too, this could be a person that might also really nurture as far as matters with social media and social networking. It could be the people that they're connected with, and even if they're in some kind of group on social media, say like on a Facebook fan page, or I should say maybe a Facebook group or club. So like say if this is in Scorpio, for example, it might be something with the occult, supernatural, or astrology. So anyway, while Ceres in astrology can also be connected with dissipated or depleted self-worth or self-esteem. Now, given that this is the 11th house, it could be in matters with friends, with acquaintances. It might be, say if this is an Aries, it might be due to some combative or contentious situations with friends or acquaintances. It may be, perhaps it had something to do with not attaining the goals or aspirations or encountering certain roadblocks or restrictions. Say if this is making an adverse aspect your natal Saturn, this could be a person that might encounter certain obstructions and roadblocks in those matters. Now, it could also be where also to remember that the 11th house can be associated with money that one may obtain from one's business. So if this is a person that is in some kind of business, there might be some situation where this person maybe had some restrictions in terms of the money that they were going to get from their business, or they incurred some kind of loss or what have you, and even in matters with stepchildren if applicable. So anyway, now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with eating issues or some disorders associated with food and eating. Now, given that this is the 11th house, now this may be tied in some cases to maybe it impacts one's connection or relationship one may have with a group they may be involved in, with a club, with an organization. Say if this is in Sagittarius, for example, it might have to do with maybe a sports or athletic related group or some fitness. Virgo can be fitness as well. This could be something where it might also play a role in situations. It might impact your situations with your friends, with your acquaintances, more so than the average person, and even stepchildren if applicable. And also, as far as one's future goes, this could be a situation that might cause really some more problems with really matters with one's future in attaining one's goals and aspirations, more so than the average person. Say if this is in Scorpio as an example, it could be a very controlling, powerful eating disorder or situation with food. It could be, or a compulsive one. Now, eating issues, of course, are very isolated. They're fairly isolated, so most people aren't going to have situations like that unless you might have some other elements in your chart that may, reaffirm that, such as like your moon, for example, being strongly afflicted, because moon could be connected, with our food. So anyway, now the next thing, and the moon is also the stomach as well, so you understand what I'm saying. So anyway, people, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with raising children. Now, given that this is the 11th house, this could be a situation where, you might raise your children in some cases with your friends, or you might encourage them. If you're a parent and you're raising children, you might encourage them to have friendships, to be part of groups, clubs, organizations, to be group involved and group oriented. And also, you might emphasize social media. It doesn't necessarily mean that you may emphasize it to a point where they need to be really infatuated with it or obsessed with it, but you might emphasize just things with social media, such as the good aspects and the bad aspects, and taking care of yourself, taking the precautions as far as social media goes and social networking. And also, too, this could be a person. Say if this is an Aquarius, you might be a parent. If you're a parent, you might raise your children to really show a lot of selfless energy and be altruistic toward one's friends, as an example. And also too, you may raise the children as well to encourage them to pursue their future and show humanitarian instincts as well. And also it might be where you might encourage them as well to have a business and to make substantial money from that, as in contrast to actually being employed by a company. So anyway. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with being coerced or being taken against one's will forcibly. In other words, kidnappings and abductions can be associated with Ceres. Now, given that this is the 11th house, in some cases this may be connected. In some cases, it might be a friend. It might be someone that may know you from social media. It might be some stalker on social media that sees, somehow knows where you're going to be at a certain time. But again, abductions can be very isolated and remote. These things generally don't happen, but it is associated with Ceres in astrology. It might involve a stepchild. Doesn't mean the stepchild would abduct you, but it might be where you and the stepchild could be abducted in isolated cases. It might be in some group involvement. Say if this is in Sagittarius, it might be at a sports venue or a place where people congregate in a sports related event, like at a sports stadium, and may be done in a very brazen manner. Could also be too, when you look at Ceres in astrology, it can also be associated with family connections. Now, given that this is the 11th house, you might be a person really that, or your family situation might seem more like friendships at sometimes. It might be where you might feel, but at the same time, it could be family members that might encourage you to pursue your future and to show humanitarian instincts. Now, and also pursue your aspirations, your objectives, and your goals and your aims in life. And it might be something too, or maybe the family in some cases might be dominated by the internet. Now, if this is, a lot of people are dominated by the internet and engrossed in it anyway, but it might be more emphasized in this, and as far as this goes, more so than most cases. Now, say if this is in Taurus, this could be something where this could add more persistence to this energy, and it might be a person that is really very persistent in terms, our family members may be very persistent and show a lot of loyalty and steadfastness, so to speak, as far as staying on the internet or persistence in going on the internet. So anyway. Well, Ceres in astrology can also be tied in with dejection, sorrow, and disappointment. Now, given that this is the 11th house, this could be situations involving friends, acquaintances. If it's safe, this is in Pisces, it might be tied into betrayal, duplicity, deception. If this, it could also be in matters trying to attain one's goals, objectives, their aims. It might be, again, going back to, say if this is making an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, this could be a person that might encounter a number of roadblocks and obstructions in those matters. And also, too, this could be about donating. Say if you're donating to a charitable organization, say if this is in Pisces, this could be something where maybe you get duped, or you donate to an organization that you think is charitable, but it's really a front, and somebody just, it might be just some con artist at your service, basically. So anyway. Well, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with protection and protective energy. You might be a person that might be very protective of your friends, your acquaintances. Say if this is in Taurus, it might be very possessive energy as well, but you might be very loyal and steadfast toward to them as well, and show a lot of loyalty and steadfastness toward your friends, but be very protective of them as well, and even stepchildren if applicable. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. Anyway, it could even be somebody that might be very protective in matters with innovation. Say if this is the 11th house and it does correspond with Aquarius in astrology. Say if this is in Taurus, this could be a person that might have some kind of maybe some way, some innovation that's connected like with agriculture or cultivation or gardening, and they might be somebody that's really in a hurry to get a patent on it and make sure that they're very protective of anybody else trying to sabotage that idea. As an example, it might be a person that's very protective in matters with the internet. You might be somebody that could be very cautious and very prudent about who you become acquainted with on there, or putting your credit card number on any site, something things of that nature. And especially if you have it like in a suspicious sign, like say Scorpio, which could be very cynical and skeptical and suspicious, and just in matters with social media in general. Now, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with clothing. You might be somebody that might donate a lot of your clothes, say if this is an Aquarius, very selflessly to charitable organizations, and maybe even, and it might be something too where you might be part of a team and you may really be wearing the clothing that the team, like say if you're in a sports team, you might be wearing the jerseys a lot when you're even when you're not involved in a game, for example, or you're not with the team. It could be a person too that might really be that kind of person to give their shirts off the back to their friends, to acquaintances. Say if this is in Leo, it could be a person that might show a lot of generosity in this area and really generously, give things away that are their clothes away, and maybe not even expect a whole lot in return. Leo can be energy could be very extravagant. Could also be, say if it's in Leo, it could also be a person that might spend very extravagantly on their friends as well, or even on matters related to some kind of group, club, or organization. If they got to wear a certain attire, if they're part of some kind of group. So anyway. And it might even be where a person might even be in some kind of, maybe they do some business that they go online and they sell clothing, because remember that this is the 11th house and it can be connected with the internet. So anyway, well, Ceres in astrology can also be associated with what one may obliterate in order to restore what one may have previously had. Now, given that this is the 11th house, in some cases this could be about somebody eradicating friendships to restore maybe their goals or their aspirations, at least be in pursuit of them. Now, in some cases, because sometimes friendships can sometimes prohibit you when they're dominating your time. Say if this is in Leo, it could be a person that might eradicate some of their domineering friendships, so to speak, in order to restore Leo-like goals and aspirations, such as maybe pursuing cardiology or something with creativity, work with children, something that might be connected with entertainment, such as working in the circus or doing something like with acting or being an actress, film production, something like that. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.